everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is September the 25th, 2021, and today the topic is the pursuit of understanding. Y'all know it's Saturday, so I usually start off with a thank you. That's right, thank you all for tuning in last night to our live chat with Mr. Branch Isolé. I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, man, he just was really, I know I've said this about several guests, but, obviously he seemed to be a great well of wisdom. He bestowed upon us a whole lot of things that for me was confirming in a lot of ways. It's like a sneak peek into my book for those of y'all that are interested, and it just was amazing to me, like all the things that he was saying that I could totally, affirm and say that, man, this sounds like my life. This sounds like exactly the things that I have encountered and experienced, right? With that being said, I've let people know this personally or whatever when I've had some questions about previous guests and whatnot. I might not agree 100% with every guest, right? If I'm honest about the conversation with Mr. Branch last night, I would say maybe there was like 10% of some of the things he said that I didn't fully agree with, right? But the fact that I could, listen and, I didn't have to debate or I didn't have to, negate his opinion or, anything like that. And the more I listened and everything like that, the more I saw that, okay, I can get with about 90% of what you're saying here, and again, it was confirmation for me in a lot of ways where I was like, I think that was a beautiful thing in itself. And I think that once I started to look up things centered around the word understanding, which ended up being maybe like, it was one of those topics that came to me as I was, because after my prayer meditation, I was thinking about different things, and I looked up different things, but eventually I was like, let me quiet my mind, let me just woosah, calm down, Miracle. There's a lot of things in your mind, and that's when the word understanding came into my mind. I started looking up verses around that, and that's when, I guess I got my confirmation for today. But the more I started to look up, or the more that I started to write down, the more I realized that, wow, I think, again, the conversation last night, it kind of goes hand in hand with this idea of what the Bible says in regards to getting an understanding. I hope that this encourages you and inspires you today, the things I share with this. Some of it's going to be things I've shared here on the Juice before. It's not anything new, I would say, but, hopefully, we can get an understanding and go from there. So when I look up the word understand, the definition says perceive the intended meaning of, and then it says words, a language, or a speaker. The second definition says interpret on or view something in a particular way. So, honestly, that alone is pretty good. I first looked up understanding, and of course the definition said to understand. So I was like, let me just look up understand then. However, I came across the biblical meaning of understanding as well. And so it says here, the context following intelligence, knowledge, experience, wisdom, and promptings from the Holy Ghost, all of which leads us to knowing and doing what is right. So, understanding. It's funny because I feel like I say this word a lot, especially the people that know me personally. Again, there's only a handful of people that I just really am fully open and honest with and just talk to all the time. And some of the times, or majority of the time, I talk to them about different things because I'm trying to get an understanding. So those people, they know that I use this phrase quite a lot. It is, I'm trying to understand people. I say that phrase a lot when I talk to them about whatever I'm trying to get an understanding about. And because, honestly, to be completely honest, hey, man, there's a lot that I don't understand about, again, things that I'm witnessing other believers say and do, and I'm like, why am I getting a different understanding than you? And, and then who's right at the end of the day, I feel like I keep asking that same question so much these days. And, because even, again, I feel like I've said this before here on the Juice as well, but even those that I feel have so much wisdom and knowledge, especially a Bible and things like that, it's like still there's some disconnect when it comes to certain topics and certain things. And I'm just like, man, if I was able to see this, and I mean, I'm not no scholar, you know what I mean? I'm not no, I believe that I am pursuing truth, right? I am pursuing, biblical knowledge and understanding and whatnot. And so, I've been able to see in this season certain things and, see things unfold as what they are and everything. And it's just like, unfortunately, I listen to people, or I talk to people, or I, observe people, and it's just like, we're on different pages when it comes to some of this stuff, and it's kind of confusing. And so once again, here I was this morning. Again, I thought about a lot of different topics, but here I was asking God again, like, hey, man, I'm trying to understand this here. I don't understand why there's this disconnect. And I know there's biblical, I've come across verses that explain why. But I guess there's still a little bit of confusion, because I'm like, it seems like we should be coming to the same conclusions here. Like, why are we not coming to the same conclusions about, like, at least some of this stuff? Some of it, right? But, hey, I guess everyone has their own, level of understanding. They have their own opinions. They, like Mr. Branch was saying last night, we have a lot of things that are pulling at us to, not only not see the will of God and all of that, but to not even acknowledge God, or not, to take God out of the scenario. So, when you have all of that on top of, I guess, everything else, perhaps that is why some of us are just blinded in the season to certain things. I know that they say there's a phrase that goes, common sense ain't common. My ex used to say that a lot. But I say that because, even if I take away the spiritual, right, I feel like you still should be able to at least see and just, again, use common sense in certain areas to see some of this stuff. But, I came across the verse again this morning. I don't think I wrote it down, but it was talking about, the hardness of heart and everything like that. And so, I guess that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. I think another thing that was crossing my mind this morning and last night during the conversation is just realizing just how simple this thing is when it comes to what the Bible says, when it comes to, I guess, God's pursuit of us. Like, I know, again, Mr. Branch, showed us in a very plain way, in my humble opinion, how simple it is to know the will of God, right? To simply approach every obstacle or everything with the mind that of, what would Jesus do? It seems so simple. Like, that seems like a simple way to exercise faith, right? A simple way to exercise your trust in God. But do we do it? Do we do it? That's the thing. And majority of us don't do it. From what I'm observing here. I mean, even me, hey, I can say there are times where I'm like, faced with a choice and whatnot, and then, trying to figure out, should I do my own will or God's will here? And, sometimes the flesh beats out, sometimes the spirit beats out. But obviously, what's going to win the most is what you feed. Someone told me that a long time ago. But anywho, y'all, let's get into what the word says about understanding. So, Proverbs 18:2 says, "A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion." I mean, if that's not us today, man, if that's not 2021, I don't know what else is. I hate to call people fools or whatever. I mean, but I too, right? I too, could be seen as that as well. I'm not sitting here, again, pointing their fingers or acting like I'm holier than thou or that I'm perfect. Okay, so obviously those that watch live, you all saw the conversation with me and Mr. Branch, and it was mostly me listening, which is okay. It's totally okay, because again, I felt like I did not want to interrupt the flow of wisdom, because again, I did agree with 90% of everything he said. So, for me to stop him and say, "Oh yeah, I agree," I mean, what's the point of that? Just let the man talk, But with that being said, it's like, I would say that there's moments where we want to express ourselves, right? We want to express our opinion, and sometimes you guys hear this whole concept of like arguments. You're not listening to the other person. You just want to say your part or whatever. So you're just waiting for that opening to say your part and everything like that. So perhaps this is where some of us fail, right? This is where some of us, we should work on this in regards to, listening more than we talk and all those things. Because, maybe we should take more pleasure in getting understanding. Because again, right, if I think about the conversation last night, if I was to rebuttal or, rebuttal everything that I didn't agree with, for example, just to get my opinion out there, right? Then I would have missed the fact that, hey, we agree on 90% of this conversation, So, I'm just using that one conversation as an example since it's like fresh, but, how can we exercise this in every day, right? I think we can try to exercise this in everyday life and everyday conversations and whatnot, listen and obviously, conversations should be two-way and everything. I'm not saying just, obviously when, stand in truth, say, what needs to be said and let God use you, obviously in situations and whatnot. However, listening is definitely, I guess, a virtue as well. And that's just my little humble opinion right there. But, it's very interesting here. Let's take more pleasure in understanding rather than just, expressing our opinions. Now, Proverbs 14:29 says, "Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly." Again, we can see this all the time too. A lot of times where, people get in arguments or people, there's conflict or all these different things because no one's listening to each other. No one's trying to get an understanding. So I guess going back to that second verse, we're just trying to express our opinions, and usually that type of thing is happening when, we are in a place where we're, being hasty, right? Again, not to say that me and Mr. Branch had for those who haven't listened to it, y'all might wonder if this conversation was bad. So it wasn't bad at all. Again, I'm just using this as an example because, again, with it happening yesterday, and I feel like there was a lot that kind of went with this topic for today for whatever reason. So that's the only reason I keep using it as an example. It's not that Mr. Branch was rude or anything, or vice versa. I think me and my personality, again, when I see and hear wisdom, I don't want to interrupt that flow, and so that's just me, but I understand that everybody's not like that, right? Some people have temper. Some people want to get their point across, like we were talking about in that last verse, where it's like, and getting angry about it and whatnot. So perhaps we should be a little more slow to anger, like, let's practice that if that is, a struggle, because at the end of the day, if we want to get more wisdom and understanding and everything like that, then we should, again, practice being slow to anger and everything like that. I don't know, this might be Pope for some people, I don't know, but I'm going to keep on going here. Proverbs 3:5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. I feel like I'm always sharing this verse here on The Juice, but it's true, because at the end of the day, again, we're so, how can I say this, Lord, like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with having an opinion, or acknowledging your own mind and your own thoughts, and being able to, make a decision at the end of the day for yourself. Like, I don't think anything is wrong with that. However, if we truly want wisdom, right, and if we truly need an understanding, like, again, with me, if I talk again about this morning, and I'm looking in my observations, I keep, asking God, to help me understand what's going on, because at the end of the day, He knows, right? This is all according to His plan, and and this is His story. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to the one that has the information. Now, all of us don't do that. And I'm not pumping myself up. I'm just throwing it out here as an idea of what you can do, or what we all can do. And obviously, I had to get there as well. I had to get to this place of being like, you know what, Lord, I'm going to stop trying to force this or that. I'm going to try to get understanding, and you are the one who I can get understanding from. So here I am to read your word and see what it has to say, as well as seeking you and looking for you to show me the way. And I guess today I feel like this is very important. This idea of trusting in the Lord, not leaning to our own understanding. Because if we want truth, if we want wisdom, then this is what we must do. And I think the more we pursue those things, right? We pursue truth, we pursue wisdom, and yes, even pursue understanding. God will give us those things, and then, we'll ultimately understand. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, man, that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. I have some more, verses that you all can check out in the Go Deeper section. Profound verses about understanding. But in the meantime, check out this Bible verse of today. Proverbs 17:28. It says, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
other Christian books for singles may focus on the theoretical aspect of loneliness and the connection with God, Dr. Tiffany Watkins offers you a step-by-step guide to heal, motivate, and reach your highest potential. This eye-opening Christian book for single women is called The Lonely Heart, A Successful Guide to Single Living. Get your copy on Amazon today.